And there we are. So I may as well just start the B-roll here. Welcome to Silent Hill In Depth, probably part one of at least 2 or 3. Don't see it going beyond that, where we're going to explore Silent Hill in depth, as the title says. Going to go over the story, the lore, presentation, maybe a little development history. Frankly, I got a little tired of that working on that video I made. Oh. There we go. Let's go to options. Looks all good to me. Now, the mission statement here, as we'll go over, going down my notes here, is going to be a full lore playthrough where we're going to discuss the plot, the symbolism, the meaning, as it is presented. No spoilers here. Welcome, Terrion29. Welcome to our stream. But we're not going to give any spoilers. We're only going to discuss things as they are presented to the player. So, yeah. Before we start, I'll just state that I have a few influences here. Lion Figures, Silent Hill lore play series, where he did all of the games, were very fun watches. I enjoyed them all. Player Gripes' Dark Souls Let's Play, where he talks about bricks for 5 minutes at a time. You know, that's very inspirational since we'll be doing a lot of stop and talk. And probably the single biggest influence would be SilentPyramid's plot guide, which is a GameFAQS plot guide that is basically the original Silent Hill interpretation manifesto. There's one before that, but we'll get to that. It is going to be a video premise, guy. We're going to do this live, do it as we go, and I'll cut them up into individual parts later, edit out any of the bits that don't work. And yeah, so there's no point. Let's just start the game. How long? A few hours. We're going to do these multiple days, like probably once a week at most. And we'll just kind of go until we get a good cutoff point. Wes, we will discuss some fan theories, but we're just going to keep it to like, here's my interpretation of what's on screen. And I'll discuss other people's interpretations, other people's meanings, stuff like that. There will be no Dragon Ball complaining for hours, Wiggle, don't worry. Let's begin. So I've always found this introduction to be rather effective for 2 reasons. 2 things to note from this. Number 1, I just want to point out, Harry wakes up. Keep that in mind. That is a common motif you'll see throughout Silent Hill 1 of Harry just waking up into a brand new location. And number 2, his name is Harry. We don't learn that though. We, the audience, do not learn that in-game. The first name we hear before all else is Cheryl. That immediately establishes Cheryl's the focus character, Harry is more or less just the POV for the audience. Interesting establishment. Now, I said I was going to read from the manual in a moment, so I will just look at chat and then do some manual reading. We won't stand around for 48 hours talking about, like, Dragon Ball and bricks, don't worry. And if I'm going to rant about an anime, I would rather rant about Yu Yu Hakusho, because that show is the bomb, but... Okay, so I'm just going to pause here. I'm going to do some manual reading, as this is the backstory of the game, as described by the original instruction manual. The resort town of Silent Hill slips into quiet desolation, now that the peak of development and growth has passed by. A memento of a tragic fire 7 years ago still haunt the townfolk, and with the tourist season long past, there is hardly a shadow stirring. Harry Mason prefers to take late vacations with his daughter Cheryl. This year, they've made plans to visit Silent Hill. Due to car trouble, they reach the outskirts of the town late at night. Cheryl is sleeping in the back seat as a motorcycle cop roars past his truck. Moments later, Harry spots the motorcycle dumped on his shoulder. There is no one to be seen. It paints an ominous picture. Suddenly, a shadow appears in front of the car. Harry turns the wheel in panic. The car slides off the edge of the road and into a gully. Harry eventually regains consciousness. Cheryl is nowhere to be seen. It is unusually cold. Snow is falling out of season. Where has Cheryl disappeared to? Harry walks forward to a town he sees in the distance. Okay, and that is just the introduction. So Harry Mason, our protagonist, is on vacation with his daughter Cheryl, and as you saw in the introduction, they saw a ghost girl walking on the side of the road, and he kind of flipped his shit and went away. So a lot of people try to make sense of the Silent Hill where the timeline takes place. Oh, my car, it's too banged up to drive. A lot of people try to make sense of when this game takes place. This is the first issue people run into. Is that officially we're told this game took place in 1983, and I think it was like Homecoming or something gave a timeline for that. No, I can't remember right now. But this is a YJ Jeep Wrangler, and this model didn't exist until 1987. So that's the first kind of hole in that. Where's Cheryl? I hope she's safe. Well, all I'm going to say now is don't try to think about when this game takes place. It doesn't matter. It's the timeline of these games is largely irrelevant. All you need to know is that 1, 2, 3, 4 are a linear procession, but they're their own things. And the actual timeline of events doesn't even matter. Okay. It is not Ash. See, in the movie, the Silent Hill movie, it is actually Ash. Yeah, we're getting too deep. We're analyzing the Jeep. But in the movie it is Ash, but here it is actually Snow, and characters will comment on that later. Now, generally you're supposed to run after Cheryl, but if I can find it, if we go here and try to enter the gas station early. What's that? Footsteps. Harry will automatically run over to the trigger point. So I'm assuming it's a proximity thing, and going into the gas station counts as a proximity.
Cheryl? Is that Cheryl? Where are you going? Hey, wait! Stop!
Yeah, I hope those aren't Cheryl's footsteps. So we're gonna go chase after Cheryl. Now, Silent Hill 1 in particular is a game that hides a lot of its meaning behind references and allusions to children's literature, classic children's literature. And this is probably reading too much into it, but this is very much a follow the white rabbit Alice in Wonderland kind of thing, as Harry's descending into Wonderland as we speak. But I'm just gonna shut up for a second and just kind of like let the ambience sink in. Wow, this sound design is really good. I'll talk more about the technical aspects about how I think this is a very impressive game for its day. Beware of dog. Yeah, that was 100% a fail state to make sure that you did not miss the cutscene. And Harry's ears are insanely good. 2 blocks, absolute unit. What is it? Well, it's dead. Speaking of amazing things, let's just walk through here. Talk about the amazing camera angle direction here. No other game looked like Silent Hill. This was made by a staff of 20 people, as well, I suppose we'll go over details later on. But the level of direction in this fucking game is astounding for 1999. Nothing looked like this. Nothing sounded like it. Although the fog is actually there to hide draw distance. That was stated flat out in an interview. So here's a question. We'll just let the scene play out. That's strange. It's getting dark. Better than nothing, I guess. So, did Harry pull out a lighter, or is that a match? I'm debating that. And I would like to hear what others have to say on that, since I don't know. It's interesting for notes later if it's a lighter that he pulled out. What? What's this? Dead end? What the hell? Yeah, if it's a lighter, I have some things to say about it later. I'm just gonna do the first of page turns that you're gonna hear here, so, no, it's awkward. Broken wheelchair? What's this doing down here? Oh yeah, all the Silent Hill games had amazing visual and sound design up until about like 3. Yeah, I would agree with you, it's a lighter. So keep in mind, Harry has a lighter at this early section of the game. That's actually going to be important for later, and we'll get to that. What's this? Well, it's probably... Let's actually check his inventory. Nothing. Nothing at all. Three had fantastic environment models, so I'd have to disagree with you on that, Micah. But we're not here to talk about Silent Hill 3, we're here to talk about Silent Hill 1. And for 1999 on the PS1, this game was something special.
What is this? What's going on here?
So pay attention to this corpse model right here. We're actually going to see that a fair bit throughout the game. Uh-oh. So this is an enemy we'll talk about later, but they actually have some interesting details behind them, specifically about the localization of Silent Hill. But we try to run back. Oh no, blocked by a fence. Well, guess there isn't much for us to do.
Was I dreaming?
How do you feel?
Oh, like I've been run over by a truck. But I'm alright, I guess.
Glad to hear it. You from around here? Why don't you tell me what happened?
Wait a second, I'm just a tourist. I came here for a vacation. I just got here. I don't know what happened. I'd like to find out myself.
Uh-huh.
Have you seen a little girl? Just turned 7 last month. Short, black hair. My daughter.
Sorry. The only person I've seen in this town is you.
Where is everybody?
I'd tell you if I knew, believe me. But from what I can tell, something bizarre's going on. That's all I know. What's your name?
Harry. Harry Mason.
Sybil Bennett. I'm a police officer from Brams, the next town over. The phones are all dead, and the radio too. I'm going back to call in some reinforcements. Hold it. Where do you think you're going?
My daughter. I've got to find her.
No way. It's dangerous out there.
In that case, I need to find her now. Cheryl's my little girl. I can't just leave her out there by herself.
Have you got a gun?
No.
Take this, and hope you don't have to use it. Now listen to me. Before you pull the trigger, know who you're shooting. And don't do it unless you have to. And don't go blasting me by mistake. Got it?
Yeah, thanks.
You do best to stay nearby. I'll be back with help as quick as I can.
It was Takeyoshi Sato who worked on the cutscenes for this game. I'll talk about the cutscene production a little later, since we have a few things in this diner to go over. And yeah, I'm not going to be talking over the cutscenes, Micah. Sybil giving out the gun is so ridiculous in this game. But there's a lot of ridiculous stuff in Silent 1. Handgun received from Sybil. Holds up to 15 rounds. That's a lie, because this handgun reloads by itself sometimes. It's nonsense. And another thing is that this is actually... I forget the exact name. It's a Smith & Wesson model polymer handgun. It was made in 1995. Once again, just timeline nonsense. 1 minute. Equip that. Get that on. But yeah, I'll talk about the CG cutscenes in a bit. Guy mentioned that he got some Deadly Premonition vibes from this. That's perfectly legitimate, because I'm not... the localization of voice acting for Silent Hill 1 was, it was quaint, let's say. Just to put it nicely. But yeah, what I'd say is that the thing that bothers me the most about the audio and cutscene stuff in this game is the spacing between the lines. I don't know, like, the way characters will say a sentence and then have a big pause between the sentences. I don't know, that always kind of bothered me. Which, it's actually an audio limitation, but while I don't like it, I actually kind of respect what it goes for, is that it sort of becomes reminiscent of David Lynch, where, if you're not familiar, David Lynch is an American film director who served as probably the primary... 1 minute. Reading chats. Are you going to talk about how the town made Harry stupid? Oh, that Anderson video is fucking painful. But... yeah, not to shit talk other creators, but man, he was not the target audience for Silent Hill. But, what was I saying? Yeah, David Lynch was the primary director for, not director, he's an American director who's the primary influence for Silent Hill. Twin Peaks in particular, but this actually has some Eraserhead vibes, just based on how people speak to each other, these massive pauses in between sentences. But there's a few things we gotta go over at the moment. That was actually our introduction to Harry as a character. He did not say his name up to that point, which I found very interesting as a late introduction. And another thing is, once again, the waking up, I'm just going to spin circles, is the waking up motif. Harry died and he woke up in a diner. A lot of waking up in this game. Okay, it's a very woke video game, as you see. Just grab the flashlight, grab the health drink. Time is convoluted in Silent Hill, indeed. Residential area map. Take it. What's that? Nani? Well, before that, what we should do is check the map, because these are actually some pretty interesting literature. Smith & Wesson Sigma from 1994. That is the model of gun. Thank you, Guy. But as you can see, all the street names here are named after authors. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down. So what we got here, you got Block Street, that is named after Robert Bloch, who wrote the book Psycho. We have Richard Bachman. Where's Bachman? Bachman Road. So Richard Bachman is actually a pen name for Stephen King, and he wrote a book called The Regulators, which I'll talk about in a moment, since it has some pretty interesting implications for why they choose Bachman as a reference. We have Richard Matheson, Matheson Street down here. He wrote the book I Am Legend, very famous horror novel. We have James Elroy, Elroy Street over here. James Elroy wrote many. Bachman wrote The Running Man? Oh, interesting. Stephen King wrote The Running Man, but under the name Richard Bachman. James Elroy is a film noir as a film noir, as a sort of a noir author. He wrote The Black Dahlia, L.A. Confidential, which both became movies. The series is called the L.A. Quartet. I forget the other 2 entries in the book series at the moment. I'm a very bad reader. I'm very, very sorry about that. We got, where is it? Finney Street, which is named after Charles G. Finney, who wrote the book Circus of Dr. Lau. We have Levin Street, which is named after Ira Levin, who wrote the book Rosemary's Baby, which anyone who's played this game will tell you that's a very, very big influence. And, of course, we got, 1 minute, where is it? Bradbury Street, down here. Bradbury, who wrote Fahrenheit 451, so Something Wicked This Way Comes. A lot of things. So, a lot of book references. Speaking of that, this poster here, The Study Dammit, that's actually a poster of Stephen King holding a shotgun, which I can post later. Someday, someone may experience these bizarre events. Hopefully, they'll find my notes useful. Like I said, we're going to be doing a lot of running around. So, I put some of these points here because these are for ending changes, to see the multiple endings. Yeah, they actually put a lot of detail into stuff like that. Just the street names have a meaning. And don't worry, guy. Shotguns are legit. You don't have to worry about that. One shotgun, it's going to serve you well. So we'll just save there. Bam. Speaking of posters and random meaning, what we have over here, this, as you can see, what I'm focusing on, the white and red and orange kind of poster, is a poster for a band called Portishead, which I believe is actually a massive influence on the game's composer, Akira Yamaoka. Oh. So, grab the health drink, grab this little knife here, worthless weapon, but what have you. And I guess we can leave. And this is a very interesting decision.
What's that? Huh. Radio. What's going on with that radio?
Bam! Welcome to America, monster.
This is not a dream. What's happening to this place?
Okay, now that enemy is called the Air Screamer. Now, anyone who knows anything about Silent Hill will tell you one of the claims to fame of the brand is, oh, the monsters are like symbolic and crap. They mean stuff. So unfortunately, because we're doing an as presented playthrough, we can't talk about, what the monsters actually mean for a good long while. So just know that the monsters in this game, despite what some people tell you, actually do have some pretty interesting meaning and implication for characters and such. But in the meantime, we can pick up this radio. So we're gonna look through here. Now, I actually have a hot take. This might be an unpopular opinion. I don't like the radio in Silent Hill. I think it's kind of annoying, and I've always preferred the games in silence without it. It's more atmospheric. When monsters startle me, they get me. I don't know, I've never liked it, so... Does it symbolize the cliff racers from Morrowind? Maybe. So, yeah, just gonna turn off the radio. I've never been a fan of it. Out we go. So, I think now is the time. Actually, it's not the time. We have some dialogue from Harry. Come on. Where could Cheryl have gone? I guess I'll check that alley again. There you go. So, I mentioned that I was going to talk about a book called The Regulators by Richard Bachman, aka Stephen King. Well, The Regulators is a story about two parallel worlds that merge into each other. The real world that we live in, and a world of a child's imagination. Just gonna let that sink in, why that might be an interesting influence for Silent Hill. No, I agree, Jack. I've always kind of preferred the without the radio. I like the silence. Oh, wrong direction. I am reading chat. Can you tell everyone? Yep, I want to go to the convenience store to get some items. Yeah, it's, the regulator's a little on the nose, Dave. I agree with you. But, here's the thing. It's Bachman Road. Who's even gonna pay attention to a stupid street name on a map? Exactly, like, it's an easy mode, and while I'm not doing hard today, Silent Hill is actually a fairly challenging game if you want to play on hard without the radio. It's a fairly challenging game, and I like it a lot. But, for now, we're going to play on easy because I don't want to get shit stomped on stream. Da-da-da-da. Hey, buddy. Eat it. That one's annoying. I don't know why. Just that one. So, we can go in here and get some goodies. Frame rate dies a little bit. That's okay. Health drink. Da-da-da-da. Yes, Doomed will not be exposing his balls on stream for the casual scum he is by dying once on the hardest difficulty on a challenge run while reading chat. This will not happen tonight, everyone. I'm sorry. Tune in for Silent Hill 3 Extreme Difficulty times 10. That'll be, I think that'll be more up your alley if you want. Oh, fuck's sake. He responds. Of course he does. Oh, well. I guess I can show off Harry's fantastic juke and jive skills. Actually, you know what? Now that we're here, may as well show off some of the more interesting movement abilities in these games. Harry has Quick Turn, which Resident Evil only adopted in the same year with Resident Evil 3. He has a Backstep. Very cool. Kind of useless, if I'm being honest, but it's a nice addition. You have a Sidestep. Sidestep. More importantly, Side Run. At the Side Run, you can drift. Harry is a speedy speed boy indeed. I feel ya. I'd rather play video games than read literature too. But you can do both if you play Planescape Torment, the greatest video game I ever read. Oh well, let's go down here. Uh-oh. A dog? That's crazy. Yeah, Harry can dance. That makes him immediately an amazing protagonist. Well, just going through my notes here. That dog enemy is called a Groaner. We'll get to them later, of course, but they do have names. I'll try to make sure I name every enemy as we come across it. Get the bullets over here. The safe you are thinking of, Dave, is in a different convenience store. Oh, okay, we'll get the the dog meme. Don't worry, we'll activate that. All right. To school.
Isn't this Cheryl's sketchbook? She's at the school.
And there's our objective. So, I just want to point out, Harry went here just on impulse. Basically, to find his daughter, and he has a note to school, which was presumably left by Cheryl. Almost as if she's directing him around. Interesting. Very interesting. So, I'll pick up the pipe here. Those monsters look like dogs to you. They kinda do. It's a PS1 game. Don't bully. Don't judge. Vincent. That line is fantastic, but we'll if we ever do Silent Hill 3 in depth, we'll get to that scene and all the themes around that. Another thing I want to point out is that this alley is now caved in. Because when we came here, it led into an entire alley of its own and basically kind of walk into hell. But here, nah, we don't have that at all. But we also have this little note here. And if you're ready for my brick wall, here's my pile of bricks from Dark Souls Let Playwrights Play. I have more to say on this than I expected. This meme is fantastic, by the way. Sketchbook cover. This picture. It's me. The first picture that Cheryl drew in her sketchbook that I gave her on her 5th birthday. Let's take a look at it again. It's so ridiculous. Look at him. It's Harry, everyone. Now, I know this looks like nonsense to us. Let's be real. But it's pretty realistic. Like, kids draw nonsense stuff. Parents kind of treasure it. Be like, oh my god, my kid drew it. Hooray. But it is interesting that Harry immediately knows that's just him. And the fact that the first thing Cheryl would ever draw would be her dad, Harry. Now, when you pair those two facts together, that Harry just knows and that the first thing that she drew was him, it kind of implies, hey, you know, Harry and Cheryl had a pretty good relationship. They're pretty close with each other. But I do have one question. Where's Cheryl on the drawing? Why didn't Cheryl... Oh, I'm dying horribly, everyone. But why didn't Cheryl draw herself? Now, this is gonna be weird. I'll post the study and kind of a repost of a study, because unfortunately it's hidden behind a paywall, like all fucking articles are, but it's a discussion for another day, about the child psychology with drawings. Because what's interesting to note is that you can actually infer a lot about the home life based on how children draw their family. Basically, if kids draw, you know, themselves at a distance with their parents, kind of like no faces, sad faces, whatever, it can kind of be a sign of chaos at home. You know? Maybe an unstable situation at home. Not a bad one, not an abusive one, just not stable. And basically, the opposite, where if you draw kind of like bright, colorful, and happy family all standing together close, then that implies it's good at home, you know, it's stable home, yada yada yada. But yeah, psychology, Lamau thinks it's a real science. It's adorable. But the fact that Cheryl didn't draw herself at all, that's interesting. It kind of implies like a lack of ego, almost. We'll get to that later, though. We'll get to what that kind of imply. Now, let's move on. Enough talking about a sketchbook with that high-definition model of Harry Mason. Oh, yeah. Check it. Swift moves. No one can hit me. Now, this is actually something that... Bit of a... Oh, your nephew's 5 and he can't draw. Well, there you go, man. Oh. Darn. Well, one thing I do want to point out about this game... Harry Mason as drawn by Ska Studios. That is fascinating. Ska Studios remake Silent Hill would be a fucking experience and a half, wouldn't it? Hey dog. Damn, that's brutal. So I just killed the dog. I murdered it, and let's look at this doghouse. Oh, can't examine it from this angle. I can only examine it from this angle. Probably a doghouse. Though I'm not sure since there's no dog around. Nothing in particular around. Can we just change the frame? There we go. No dog. Yep, no dogs at all, everyone. But a bit of a not controversial, a divisive element of Silent Hill 1 is the aimless exploration we're doing now. Because I know where to go, I know what to pick up, I know what to collect, but on your first playthrough, you're just going to be wandering around these foggy streets looking for anything, really. And I actually like that. I kind of like how it just lets you explore and roam. And Silent Hill 1 and 2 are the only games in the series that really did that. And I think it really enforced the kind of lonely atmosphere the games are going for. With the excellent sound design, like the really atmospheric blows of the wind, it's nice, man. It's good shit. So let's just read this note. This is one of the things I don't like about the exploration segment. Doghouse, 11th Street. Game needs markers of some kind. Like those? The game actually, what is an interesting factor is that the game kind of fills in the markers as you go. So it's like dead end, Cheryl. Cool stuff. I really like this game. That's a really interesting feature, and I kind of wish more horror games would do that. I think Remake 2 actually recently had a very, very good version of this, but Silent Hill kind of did it first, and to my knowledge anyway. Please correct me if I am mistaken about that. Let's just fucking kill this dog. Eat it. Alright. So, what I don't like is you can only get the key here. Oh, I know, you're joking, like, oh, the game's outdated, which it is in aspects, I'll agree, but I kind of like open exploration, and there's an audience for that. But it's me, man, I get you. So yeah, you can only get this key if you get the paper, to my knowledge. I don't really like that. I wish if you just double tapped it, maybe, like I did. Because I did try to, like, double examine, and it didn't let me get the key, which kind of sucks, but, you know, whatever. Yeah, Silent Hill 3, and especially Silent Hill 4, really, really, really railroad you. I never liked that. I liked 1 and 2, how you could explore around and find all the resources. One minute, like, again, I got pipe, optional weapon, I got 5 healing items, 2 good healing items, got a bunch of ammo, a gun that magically reloads because I fired way more than 10 shots, yet I'm somehow only 2 down in the magazine. Let's get more ammo. I'm not feeling secure enough. Bam. And we'll just grab this right here. Yeah, it is classic adventure game garbage, but Silent Hill was never as obnoxious with it, except for some parts of Silent Hill 2, which are pretty notorious. Like that puzzle where you have to get the hair strand, the hook from the teddy bear, and put it down a pipe to find a key. Like, fuck off. It's so ridiculous. There are 3 locks. But a bloody map here. Keys for Eclipse. Something is written on the map, hanging on the wall. Copied it to the map. So what's interesting is that, yeah, no animation for it either. Just immediately. Just, oh, alley, bridge, Elroy. Interesting shit. Really like it. But, yeah, we have our first objective. We need the keys for the Eclipse. Let us go. Yeah, memories of breathing fear returning to Wes. Just putting him into this post-traumatic stress disorder flashback of his days in the Vietnam of breathing fear. Alright. Yep, typical American home. Nothing weird about it. I think there's some ammo back here. Let's go get that. Because, you know, I'm not feeling secure enough. Oh, there's just some first aid kit. Alright, can I get it? Can I get it? Can I get it? Yeah! Only took 1 hit. Aw, yeah. No, okay, they're gone. No, but that is an interesting point you bring up, is that immediately the game's trying to set even small things into Uncanny Valley territory. Like, wait, you have how many locks on your door? Doghouse on 11th Street? Guns make me feel more safe. I'm the worst kind of monster. I'm the most dangerous animal of all. A man. Haha! You fool. We walk past the Ghoul, the famous cafe, the Ghoul. Walk down here. Let's just kill this thing. Ah, come on. Gotcha. Oh, eat it. What's my health at? Nah, I could heal. Bam, there we go. Didn't even need to. But I want to take my time to talk about, look at this health item first. Basically just a free, proper Japanese samurai sword. Why do you have a gun when you could be studying the blade? These are the questions we should be asking. Wake up, America. Key of Scarecrow. Take it. So, I'm just going to pause here for a minute, because this is the first of a few literary allusions that we're actually going to see in Silent Hill, and probably the most significant, in my opinion, the Wizard of Oz. Now, this is the first key that we grab, is the Key of Scarecrow. It's a reference to, obviously, the Scarecrow from the Wizard of Oz. And the fact that you crossed a chasm with a board kind of just placed above it as a little bridge, it's an allusion to a section of the novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, I believe is the original name, where the Scarecrow suggested the group cut down a tree to cross a giant chasm. Now, that's all well and good. You're kind of just like, hey, look, it's a little reference. What's interesting is when meeting the wizard at the very end, the Scarecrow perceives the wizard as a woman in white. And each member of the group perceives the wizard differently. Keep that in mind. Let's check the map. Yep. Going right direction. Diagonal over here. Yeah, I warned you. Man. This is going to be a deep dive. We're getting right up in our assholes today. Yeah, you know what I mean by woman in white. Well, we'll get there. No, we'll just in order get there. So we're at a basketball court. What we have: a dog's head. Well, let's just get this health item over here. Interesting, the dog's head is its own hitbox. Like, I have to walk around. That's interesting. So, I'll pick up the key here. We have the key of the Woodman. So, the Woodman is obviously a reference to the woodsman from the novel. And the woodsman at one point in the book had to cut off the heads of wolves that were sent to kill the group by the Wicked Witch. And what's interesting to note, though, about the Woodman, or Woodsman, however you prefer, is that for him, when he sees the wizard, what he perceives is a giant monster. Yeah, thank you. I actually enjoy Player Gripes too. I like his Let's Play of Dark Souls. It's very enjoyable. And that's why I list as an influence. Is that, hopefully, I am enjoyable to listen to, and not too annoying. Because I have that problem where I kind of go on tangents about fucking Wizard of Oz or whatever stupid thing I'm thinking about right now. Aw, yeah, baby. Food and liquor. Liquor, food. Aw, yeah. Aw, yeah. That's what we're all about. Yeah, add a spear. Have a katana, a gun, and a spear. That's all you need, baby. Just strap them all together. So there's going to be some birds, some air screamers. See if we can kick their ass. Ah! Where you at? Aha! Eat it. Oh yeah, I'll go on a tangent as we run back to the doghouse on 11th Street, because we'll finally talk about Takeyoshi Sato and the sacrifice he made to animate the CG cutscenes. But the last thing we have here is a police car facing an endless chasm. Bottomless chasms all around, all directions. Key of the Lion. Now, the lion being placed in front of a bottomless chasm is a reference to a point in the novel where the Cowardly Lion, you know, being kind of coward he is, had to gather the bravery to jump across a giant chasm. And I suppose it being in the back of a police car could imply something. I don't know. I'll talk about more thoughts on police stuff later, since that, believe it or not, that does actually play into the story to a minor degree. But what the lion sees the wizard as, and this one is a little hard to link to the end game of Silent Hill itself, but he perceives the wizard as a giant ball of fire. And yeah, we'll talk about that more later. But what I would kind of want to point out, and why I'm going on this tangent here, is that all three of the characters that are represented as keys here, the lion, the woodsman, and now the scarecrow, all perceive the wizard differently. And at the end of the day, though, anyone who's familiar with either the movie or the book, the Judy Garland film, which we'll talk about the connection to Judy Garland later, that was all smoke and mirrors routine. The wizard wasn't magic or a woman in white or a giant ball of fire or a beast or whatever. He was just a man. And I suppose before we go any further, I should point out that I'm going to be tackling this game from... I'm only going to discuss plot points as they're presented in context of this game, but I do have some pre-existing knowledge of the franchise. I'm very familiar with Silent Hill 1 to 4, and in my opinion, there is a main connecting theme of all four of the Silent Hill games, and that's perception. And perception, with this allusion to Wizard of Oz and how it's going to play into the ending, I think it is interesting to get into that at the very beginning and point out kind of some ideas, just get that in people's heads. And another thing I just want to point out is that we have the woodsman, we have the lion, we have the scarecrow. We don't have Dorothy. That's interesting. We don't have Dorothy. But yeah, now that we're off my dumb little fairy tale tangents, we can talk about Takeyoshi Sato. So Sato was an employee at Konami before the production of Silent Hill happened, and he was working on like minor stuff, errands around the office, you know, basically like really mundane stuff, and he wanted to be an animator. He wanted to be an artist. Is Harry Dorothy? Is Harry a real girl? No, girl doomed, I promise. That was the only one. Don't tempt me, though. Don't tempt me. The inner self is coming. But what happened with Sato is eventually he said, I want some real work, and he was told, okay, you're going to work on Silent Hill. Just throw on this project. So he wanted to work on that, and while he was doing pretty much all the work for the animation, he was going to get no credit because he had to have a quote-unquote supervisor who was going to get the actual credit of work. And Sato thought that was completely inexcusable. So he got into a massive blowout fight with his higher-up, where eventually he gave the ultimatum. It's like, okay, either I get full credit, I get credit, period, or I leave. That's it. Because I'm teaching the guy who's supervising me how to do this. This is nonsense. So his higher-up said, okay, you're so confident, you think you're hot shit, Sato? Do it all yourself. And Sato, in the heat of the moment, I guess, without thinking what that implied, said, yeah, I'll do every single bit of animation in this game all by myself. No help. So, essentially, for the years of this game's development, he just lived in the office, because the only way he could actually render all the scenes on time, which, again, Silent Hill CG was very advanced for its time. Like, it was Square Enix level, when it's, like, a team of 20 or so people. So what Sato did was he waited in his office until after hours, waited till everyone left, everyone in the division that was working on this left, and used all their computers as they were gone to animate and render the scenes. I forget the exact number off the top of my head, but apparently to render all of the cutscenes, it took like 6,000 hours just for the CG cutscenes. Not to animate them, mind you, because they were all done by hand this time around. He did it just to render them. Now that is dedication, ladies and gentlemen. But it turned out well. He got an award for it. Very high cultural award. I forget the exact title, but yeah. I'd say it worked out well for the guy. So, let's move on. Key of Lion. Key of Woodman. Key of Scarecrow. Well, doing things out of spite worked out this time, I guess. What? It's getting dark again? What's going on? Okay, so I think Micah mentioned earlier about the lighting tricks of this game. I forget the details of how specifically they did the lighting, because they're very vague about it. The techs and tricks of a lot of Silent Hill 1 stuff. But I think it's just worth noting. What other game in 1999 did this? What other game looked like this and had, like, you know, artificial pseudo-dynamic lighting stemming from the player, causing shadow, glare, lens stuff? What other game did this? Again, this game is insane. But I'll have more chance to blindly talk praise about Silent Hill 1 as we go. Oh. So, ignoring you. I'm just gonna go kill some dogs, get some extra ammo. That's So, if I remember correctly. Once again, though, I'll be silent for a second. Oh, never mind. No, I'm good. Think you're good? Think you're tough? Yeah, tough now. But what's interesting is that, oh. Where you at? Oh, what's my health like? Yeah, screw it. Bam. And he's done. Oh, please don't talk to me about Silent Hill Pachinko, man. I can't handle that right now. But we'll get these extra resources. What's interesting is that, I'll shut up for a second, but you can kind of hear the audio fade out and fade in as Harry runs. It's very slight, but the audio gets louder as Harry stops and just kind of absorbs the ambiance. But he runs. Kind of fades out a little bit. Very interesting. Very, very cool stuff. Not sure how they did that exactly, but I'm not exactly what you'd call an expert or even an adept at PS1 technology, so not going to comment on it. Besides, it's pretty cool. Run down the streets. Gonna get some free resources in a second. Aha! Fool. Now, if I remember correctly... There we go. Oh. There we are. Yeah, the Metro games are pretty cool too. I mean, granted, yeah, you're like you say, they are working from existing stories, and this kind of was its own thing right out the bat. But I don't know. I think there's room for both. Get this. Grab you, because I'm a compulsive saver. Just go back here. Bam. There we go. We're almost an hour now. Oh boy. It's taken us quite a while to get to this part. So yeah, we are about to enter. If I can get out the loading screen and not get eaten by the dog. Damn it. Yeah, the bus is pretty well hidden away. There's no real point to go in there, since if you've explored, you have enough resources as is. But what we're doing is entering the Midwich Elementary School. And this is sort of like the first level of the game, dungeon, whatever you want to call it.